Warning, this kid is rated R. I had warned Mom about August's face. I had described what he looked like. I did this because I know she's not always so good at faking her feelings. And August was coming over for the first time today. I even sent her a text at work to remind her about it, but I could tell from the expression on her face when she came home after work that I hadn't prepared her enough. She was shocked when she came through the door and saw his face for the first time. Hi, Mom. This is Augie. Can he stay for dinner? I asked quickly, and it took a second for my question to even register. Hi, Augie, she said. Of course, sweetheart. If it's okay with Augie's mother. While Augie called his mother on his cell phone, I whispered to Mom, Stop making that weirded out face. She had that look like she'd been watching the news and some horrific event has happened. She nodded quickly, like she hadn't realized she was making a face, and was really nice and normal to Augie afterward. After a while, Augie and I got tired of working on our projects and went to hang out in the living room. Augie was looking at the pictures on the mantle and he saw a picture of me and Daddy. Is that your dad? He said. Yeah. I didn't know you were, what's the word? Biracial? Right, that's the word. Yeah. He looked at the picture again. Are your parents divorced? I've never seen him at drop off or anything. Oh no, I said. He's a platoon sergeant. He died a few years ago. Whoa, I didn't know that. Yeah, I nodded, handing him a picture of my dad in his uniform. Wow, look at all those medals. Yeah, he was pretty awesome. Wow, Summer, I'm sorry. Yeah, it sucks. I really miss him a lot. Yeah, wow, he nodded, handing me back the picture. Have you ever known anyone who died? I asked. Just my grandmother. I really don't even remember her. That's too bad. Augie nodded. You ever wonder what happens to people when they die? I asked. He shrugged. Not really. I mean, I guess they go to heaven. That's where my grands went. I think about it a lot, I said. I think when people die, their souls go to heaven, but just for a little while. Like that's where they see their old friends and stuff and kind of catch up on old times. But then I actually think the souls start thinking about their lives on earth, like if they were good or bad or whatever. And if they get born again as brand new babies in the world. And then they get born again as brand new babies in the world. Why would they want to do that? Because then they get another chance to get it right, I answered. Their souls get a chance to have a do over. He thought about what I was saying and then nodded. Kind of like when we get a makeup test, he said. Right. But they don't come back looking the same, he said. I mean, they look completely different when they come back, right? Oh, yeah, I answered. Your soul stays the same, but everything else is different. I like that, he said, nodding a little. I really like that, Summer. That means in my next life I won't be stuck with this face. He pointed to his face when he said that and batted his eyes, which made me laugh. I guess not, I shrugged. Hey, I might even be handsome, he said, smiling. That would be so awesome, wouldn't it? I could come back and be this good looking dude and be super buff and super tall. I laughed again. He was such a good sport about himself. That's one thing I like most about Augie. Hey, Augie, can I ask you a question? Yeah, he said, like he knew exactly what I wanted to ask. I hesitated. I'd been wanting to ask him this for a while, but I've always lost the guts to ask. What? He said. You want to know what's wrong with my face? Yeah, I guess, if it's okay for me to ask. He shrugged. I was so relieved he didn't seem mad or sad. Yeah, it's no big deal, he said casually. The main thing I have is this thing, mandibulofacial dysostosis, which took me forever to learn how to pronounce, by the way. But I also have another syndrome that I can't even pronounce. And these things kind of morph together into one big super thing, which is so rare they don't even have a name for it yet. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm actually considered something of a medical wonder, you know. He smiled. That was a joke, he said. You can laugh. I smiled and shook my head. You're funny, Augie, I said. Yes, I am, he said proudly. Cool beans. The Egyptian tomb. Over the next month, August and I hung out a lot after school, either at my house or his house. August's parents even invited Mom and me over for dinner a couple times. I overheard them talking about fixing Mom up on a blind date with August's Uncle Ben. Ben. On the day of the Egyptian Museum exhibit, we were all really excited and kind of giddy. It had snowed the day before, not as much as it had snowed over Thanksgiving break, but still, snow is snow. The gym was turned into a giant museum with everyone's Egyptian artifact displayed on a table with a little caption card explaining what the thing was. Most of the artifacts were really great, but I have to say, I really think mine and August's were the best. My sculpture of Anubis looked pretty real, and I had even used real gold paint on it. And August had made his step pyramid out of sugar cubes. It was 2 feet high and 2 feet long. He had spray painted the cubes with this kind of fake sand paint or something. It looked so awesome. We all dressed up in Egyptian costumes. Some of the kids were Indiana Jones type archaeologists. Some of them dressed like pharaohs. August and I dressed like mummies. Our faces were covered except for little holes for our eyes and a little hole for our mouth. When the parents showed up, we all lined up in the hallway in front of the gym. Then we were told we could go get our parents, and each kid got to take his or her parents with a flashlight tour through the dark gym. August and I took our moms around together. We stopped at each exhibit explaining what it was, talking in whispers, answering questions. Since it was dark, we used our flashlights to illuminate the artifacts while we were talking. Sometimes, for dramatic effort, we would hold the flashlights under our chins while we were explaining something in detail. It was so much fun hearing all the whispers in the dark, seeing all the lights zigzagging around the dark room. At one point, I went over to get a drink from the water fountain. I had to take my mummy wrap off my face. "Hey, Summer," said Jack, who came over to talk to me. He was dressed like the man from the Mummy. "Cool costume." "Thanks." "Is the other mummy August?" "Yeah." Hey, do you know why August is mad at me?" "Uh-huh," I nodded. "Can you tell me?" "No." He nodded. He seemed bummed. "I told him I wouldn't tell you," I explained. "It's so weird," he said. "I have no idea why he's mad at me all of a sudden. None. Can you at least give me a hint?" I looked over at where August was across the room, talking to our moms. I wasn't about to break my solid oath that I wouldn't tell anyone about what he overheard at Halloween, but I felt bad for Jack. "Bleeding scream," I whispered in his ear. Then I walked away. All right, I'm going to stop there because part 4 is from Jack's point of view. Jack, now here is my secret. It is very simple. It is only with one's heart that one can see clearly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. So next week we'll start with Jack's point of view.